Today Harvey is back in the arena with the saddle on. I have previously worked Harvey in the round yard with the saddle on with no issues at all. He's really quite unfazed by the whole thing, but I like to take things as slowly and concisely as possible so nothing unexpected occurs when you're breaking in a horse. So because we're back in the arena, I've put the Kula Lunge training system over the top of the saddle. I've used a girth that's designed for a short girth pointed saddle, and it's actually up on the top hole on either side, so this has worked out quite well. The roller comfortably sits over the saddle, and even though Harvey's about 17 too, I've still got room to make the Kula Lunge system that little bit bigger. So I've just given him a quick warm up on this side. Now what I'm going to do is run the stirrups down so he gets used to the stirrups flapping against his side. So no, I'm not a pro lunging with stirrups down. It's not my thing. But in this scenario, I want him to get used to things, like I said, flapping against his side. So the stirrups can come down. They actually don't really touch him very much because he's got the two girths where the stirrups are touching. So using the Kula Lunge just gives me that little bit more control over Harvey and what he's doing. It helps me to keep him straighter on the circle and keep him working in a more round, connected frame. You can see I've run the side reins between his front legs. What I've actually done with the girth is I've put a drop noseband over the girth so I can just attach the side reins to the dropped noseband. If you happen to need a little bit of extra length with your side reins, this could also be an option as well, because you could make the noseband looser if you needed to. Harvey has jumped straight into canter here. I'm not too concerned about that. More just ensuring that he's comfortable with the extra weight of the saddle on his back in the more open environment. He's listening to me a lot more effectively. He is working in a more connected frame. Man, a tantrum, but that's all right. It's not a big deal. I am loving this more connected canter on this side. I've got to see he's way more balanced and connected on this side than the other side. He's got a better connection in the canter, and the canter's just more together on this side. So on the other side, I still feel like he's pulling me around the arena a little bit. So that is something that we have to work on, getting him more even on both sides. This is a perfectly normal thing, like we're all right-handed or left-handed, so if you're right-handed, your right side's more dominant, you're more coordinated on that side. It's the same with horses. So the goal of training them is to get them working evenly on both sides. And if that comes through, that's my rooster, which it probably will because I'm doing a voiceover because there was machinery working in the background. We're getting our fencing done, so I didn't think my voice would carry over machinery. He's actually in my tack room with me. He is a menace. All right, see, he's just not as balanced on this side. He's running a little bit. At least he's picked up the correct canter lead. Rooster, get out now. Don't be naughty. Come on, I'm working, mate. Just shooing my rooster out because, that's perfectly normal to have your rooster come in your tack room, which also doubles as my office. And I'll just send him back out again. Excuse the rooster. So I literally took my eyes off him for a second there and stopped paying attention, and so he's come back in. So it's not something I can complain about because at least he's paying attention to my body language. And that was on me to focus on what he's doing. So I'm just looking. So that little bit of a leap into the canter was actually, he's not really being naughty. He was just organising his legs, and you can see that disunited in the canter here. So I'm just slowly trying to decrease the size of the circle without bringing him back in, but I wasn't successful. And now he's on the incorrect cantilever, but as I said earlier, this is the more difficult side for him. So what I did find with Gracie, our other Clydesdale, is once I started riding her, her coordination improved a lot. That's not generally the case. Normally, the better you get them on the ground, the better they are under saddle. But I did find with Gracie, she was still a little bit pulley and luggy and not that balanced. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm just getting on her anyway. And things actually progress more quickly under saddle. So that may well be the same with Harvey, although I am at least seeing some good results. And my reins have just come down. Lucky he's quiet. I don't normally work with split reins. It's just what's on this bridle. And my knot has failed. But it's not a problem. He's quick to come back anyway. So, and then I'm just gonna send him out once more on this side, and just try and finish on a more balanced, more connected sort of trot and canter. I don't want him to finish on that like running, and he's only just pulling me now, but he is still utilizing me to balance himself. On the other side, he's just like floating around me now. But he's still better. That canter is more connected, it's more balanced. He's not running as much now. It's actually starting to become a 3-beat canter rather than this it was almost like a gallop before. And then I just try to slow that trot down to a more connected, more rhythmical trot. So again, this is just following my body language. I've got the whip there if I need it, but I rarely use it, or I more just change the position of the whip. Sometimes I'll crack it if he needs to be shoed on, but I generally tend to not have the whip too close to him. He just doesn't need it. He's quite responsive to my aids. Oh, God help me, that rooster. That's a much more connected trot now. All right, well that is it for us today. This is coming to the end of our training session with the Kula Lunge training system, which, as you can see, does fit on a 17-2 hand-high horse over a saddle. So if you would like to find out more, please go to our website, kulalunge.com. Thank you for watching.